Okay, we're about to get started in a few minutes. Another minute. All right. 7 o'clock on the dot, so we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well tonight. Thank you so much for taking the time out to join me tonight for this webinar on self-care and motherhood. But first and foremost, give yourself a pat on the back for recognizing that self-care is important and essential for your overall well-being, right? And work taking time out to learn different ways to engage in self-care. So good for you, right? So before we get started, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Mireille Etienne. I go by Mimi. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, but currently reside in Georgia. My most important role in life is being a mom and a caregiver. I have a 23-year-old Earth Angel with a daughter with special needs and a 12-year-old son and an 81-year young old aunt who all relies on me and expects me to be there for them. Professionally, I am a licensed professional counselor in Georgia, a licensed mental health counselor in New York with over 25 years experience in the mental health field, and 18 of those years have been in private practice, right? Which is called integrating body, mind, and life. I have worked in various settings, including crisis hotlines, correctional mental health, emergency rooms, and part of an employee wellness program. So that's a little bit about me, your presenter for tonight. So this is the agenda for tonight, right? I've already done the introduction. You know who I am. Going to tell you a little bit about our upcoming events and ongoing events. We're going to talk about the balanced act of motherhood, why self-care matters, stress and stress management, self-care tips and how to implement them. Then I'm going to give you my contact information if you'd like to connect with me at a later time. So to get started, I want to talk a little bit about my ongoing support group for single mothers. And although it's geared for single mothers, those who are married or partnered are more than welcome to join, right? This group has been in the work for years, in my mind, that is, right? I've always envisioned having a group that empowers other mothers, helps be their village, right? As they raise their children, or as I like to say, as we raise adults, right? Um, and a place where we can be held accountable, right? When it comes to our self-care. So I had so many ideas come to mind, but I never could quite put it all together. Well, 2024, it finally came together in my mind and in reality. I've collaborated with some great people in different fields, including an attorney to provide us with legal insight that we might not think about as mothers, right? Holistic practitioners to give us some tips on how to take care of our bodies as women, and a lot of other resources. And I really see it as being a powerful addition to your existing support network, right? So I will have the link in the chat for you if you would like to register, or you could always just scan the QR code that's on the screen right now. And it'll take you to the registration form, and you can sign up there. I also plan on providing more educational webinars like this one. Although I believe everyone should be in therapy, including us therapists, right? I also know sometimes we are not ready, or it's just not feasible, right? So I want to be able to provide the community with useful information that I provide my clients on a one-to-one basis in these types of settings. So look forward to hearing more about different groups and different webinars that I'll be having on my YouTube page and on my Instagram page. All right. The balance act of motherhood, right? Being a mom is an incredible journey filled with love, laughter, and endless to-do lists, right? We pour our hearts and souls into our children, but often we neglect our own needs. So let me ask everyone a question, and please put your response in the chat box. How many of you actively engage in self-care? Right? Don't have the time for it, all right? Sometimes. Good for you. Daily walks, very good. Great. Well, this presentation is going to explore the importance of self-care, right, for moms. And thank you again for participating. And provide practical tips for creating a sustainable self-care routine. Remember, taking care of yourself is not selfish at all, right? It's essential for your well-being and allows you to be the best mom you can be. As women, we have unique stressors. One study done in UK several years ago found that stress levels among women were 50% higher than men. 50%. And this was before the pandemic, right? And since then, a lot has changed, right? We've seen a lot of changes. Many people, many women, I should say, find themselves juggling multiple roles, right? We are mothers, we're career professionals, we're homemakers, we're caregivers, and in some instances, we're the breadwinner, right? So many of us, we find ourselves having to hold the traditional role of women in society while still trying to achieve a greater career success or embrace a more modern role in society. Then, of course, we have workplace pressures, right? Oftentimes, women feel they need to overperform in the workplace in order to be recognized and promoted. During the pandemic, I met with a lot of women who, out of guilt of having to be a caregiver during work hours and trying to harmonize, of course, their home and work, they pushed themselves so hard, right? And what ended up happening is it impacted their ability to get anything done, right? Because they were completely burned out. And so, having workplace pressures while being a mom is extraordinarily difficult, right? Another reason why stress is different for women is that we have biological differences in how our bodies respond to stress. Okay? One way stress impacts us hormonally is that we know high levels of stress increases the production of cortisol. And high cortisol levels actually lowers estrogen levels in our body. When our estrogen levels are lower due to the stress response, all types of hormonal imbalanced symptoms rather, such as hot flashes, night sweats, sleep problems, and mood swings can get worse. Right? So we know there is a biological difference in how stress impacts women. And finally, to add to workplace pressures, we have to deal with emotional labor, right? The need to manage our own feelings and expressions to fulfill the emotional requirement of a job. You don't want to be seen too emotional, too angry, to whatever that emotion is, right? To your colleagues, to your customer, and definitely not to your boss, right? So what do? We suppress those feelings, which isn't good. Anything suppressed is never good, right? You bite your tongue in order to make sure everyone is comfortable. And doing this type of internalizing for a long period of time can lead to, of course, job dissatisfaction, right? But worse, to physical distress and emotional distress. Stress have significant impact on our body, our mood, and our behavior. When stress manifests to physical symptoms, we may experience headaches, muscle tension, pain, chest pain, fatigue, stomach upset, and sleep problems. But it doesn't stop there, right? Because of course not. Because our mind and bodies are connected, we can also experience emotional symptoms such as anxiety, restlessness, lack of motivation, right? Inability to focus, irritable, angry, and even depression at times. And then, of course, stress affects our behavior. So we might find ourselves overeating or undereating, right? Having anger outbursts, right? Using drugs or increasing alcohol use, tobacco use. We may even become socially withdrawn. Our thinking may become disorganized and we have difficulty concentrating. And others may even experience teeth grinding. I've had clients that have actually cracked their tooth in their sleep from so much teeth grinding. So symptoms of stress is horrible, right? And we need to learn how to manage it. So why does self-care matters? Well, the constant demands we have as mothers can definitely take a toll, right? Stress, exhaustion, and feeling overwhelmed are all too common for moms. Self-care is the antidote to these challenges, right? By prioritizing your well-being, you'll feel calmer, more energized, and better equipped to handle the daily grind, right? You also be setting a powerful example for your children, teaching them the importance of self-love and self-compassion. Many moms struggle to prioritize self-care because there are a lot of misconceptions out there, right? So let's look at some myths about self-care, right? Self-care is a luxury I don't have time for, right? Well, even a small pocket of self-care, something small can make a difference. And it doesn't have to cost money, right? And it doesn't have to be something that you do all day, right? Self-care is selfish. Taking care of yourself allows you to be a better caregiver. It's not selfish. It's absolutely, and I can't say this enough, essential that you take care of yourself, right? I have to do it all by myself. Well, sometimes that's the case, right? I've been a single mom for a long time, but sometimes we might be afraid to delegate or even ask for help. And sometimes we have help around us and we don't take advantage of it. So try to delegate some of the things and responsibilities you have or ask for assistance, you know. Um, the last one is that self-care is only for people with poor mental health, right? Well, we know that's not the truth, right? At some point in time, we all need to be able to take care of our mental health. Our mental health is just as important as our physical health, right? If we do not have good mental health, we will not take care of ourselves physically, right? So part of having good mental health is partaking in self-care, right? So you definitely want to do that. I often say, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? We want to make sure that our cup is full and honestly overflowing to the point that you are giving from your saucer and not your actual cup, right? So we want to engage in self-care. So where do we get started, right? I know. I'm pretty sure it's been a while since you've had thoughts about it yourself. Like, how can I make sure I'm taking care of myself, right? It could be a daunting question. Where do I get started, right? It's been a while. However, by examining where you are and taking small steps, you can achieve the desired outcome, right? So, four areas you want to examine and start with is your behavior, your lifestyle, right? Your thinking, and your current social support. And I'm going to dive a little deeper into each of these areas. So let's talk about modifying your behavior, right? Oftentimes we engage in behavior that actually adds more stress. Right? Not saying that we really mean, not saying what we really mean, rather, right? And saying yes when we should be saying no is one of those actions that undermine our self-care. So the first modification you can start is with your communication style, right? You can start communicating more assertively, right? Don't give in to those guilt trips, right? That your children, your partner, your family, your friends may give you. Say what you mean. No is a complete sentence, right? Next is get organized. When we feel like we have a handle on things, we feel confident, right? And we have this I can do attitude, right? But in a chaotic environment, and I'm sure you all have been in a chaotic environment, it can lead us to feeling more stress, right? So I always tell my clients, sometimes our environment, whether it's your room or your car, can tell me how and tell you how your mind is working. So getting organized is a great way to start combating stress, right? Start small. Start with your kitchen counter and then move to a larger area like your closet or a garage, right? It doesn't have to be done in one day, but just start somewhere. Excuse me. Next is venting your emotions. Emotions are meant to come out, whether it's on paper or to a trusted friend. Vent your emotions. Cry if you need to. I often say tears is our natural antidepressant because sometimes after a good cry, we feel so much better. So vent those heavy emotions, right? Use humor, right? Always a great way to de-stress, right? Don't take everything so seriously. If you know me, you will know I often use humor, even in my sessions, because we need to laugh sometimes. And yes, sometimes at ourselves, right? So laugh a little, watch a comedy, or a funny meme on social media. I can crack up on different memes on Instagram and TikTok, for hours, but don't do it for hours. The last one is use diversion and distractions. On this side, you see a phone, which is a good distraction, right? But we often overuse it. So outside of scrolling on social media, what else can you do to temporarily distract yourself, right? How about bird watching? Yeah, there's people that actually watch birds, right? Very soothing, right? How about taking a walk in nature, right? And being very attentive to the sounds and the beauty of nature, right? Find distractions that don't add to your stressors, but allows you to relax. Another area to look at is your current lifestyle, right? How can you transform your lifestyle to help you cope with stress of motherhood better, right? Here are some areas that we can look at adjusting, right? Maybe changing your diet, having a healthier diet. I know for many of you, and including myself, sometimes the things we eat, we're like, oh, I feel bad, right? So what we put in our body is so important. It can help us, it can boost our moods, and then sometimes it can suck us up, right? So try engaging in changing your diet. Avoid smoking, right? Again, sometimes we smoke as a way to calm ourselves, right? But then it adds stress, right? When it creates health problems down the line, right? So avoid smoking. Reduce alcohol consumption, right? Maybe try exercising, right? Exercise is a great thing to do. Exercise is our friend. It helps, you know, give us energy. It helps release the brain chemical, um, good, healthy mood endorphins that we need. So exercise is a great way uh, to help transform your lifestyle. Sleep. Sleep is so important. I recently posted a picture of me after I had 8 hours of sleep and I felt great, right? So sleep is undervalued, but so important. There's so much happening in our bodies when we sleep. So you definitely want to engage in creating a good bedtime routine, right? Improving your sleep hygiene, as we call it. Pursue some leisure activities, right? What are things that you like to do for fun? Maybe it's knitting, maybe it's sewing, right? But look for those things that allows you to relax, right? Engage in active relaxation, right? Meditation, listening to soothing music, right? And some other stress reduction techniques that work for you, right? It's not a one size fit all. Everyone has what helps them relax, right? So what are some healthy habits, healthy things that you can do, activities that you can do that can help you relax and pour into your cup? You know, what we think and say to ourselves about a situation is directly related to how we feel and cope with things. And I'm going to go a little deeper as we talk about altering your thinking, right? So, Dr. Albert Ellis, he's a psychologist who founded rational emotive behavior therapy. And he realized from time to time, virtually everyone thinks irrationally, right? And he believed that this type of thinking caused unnecessary pain. So he described a three-part model. A is activating event, right? B is your belief regarding that event. And C is the consequences, right? Feelings or behaviors you experience after the activating event. Dr. Aaron Beck, based on Dr. Ellis's work, created an approach to therapy that focuses on how thinking affects our behavior. And this is called cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, which many of you may already be familiar with, right? And in Dr. Ellis's model, right, the feeling and the actions are one step, right? You have the event and you have the thought about the event. And based on whether it is a positive or a negative thought, it then develops into a feeling. If the feeling is negative, then it's a possibility that it increases your stress level, right? If the thought becomes irrational, and for today's presentation, I'm defining irrational as without having concrete evidence, right? Then your stress level can get elevated to another level, right? So I like to use this analogy, right? Take snow, for example. Kids love it. Adults usually don't like it depending on the circumstance. What has changed between childhood and adulthood, right? Well, what's changed is the meaning that we've attached to that event, right? So, for example, growing up in New York as a child, I loved the snow, right? I loved playing with it. It was fun with my siblings. Made snowballs, we threw it at each other, all good stuff, right? Beautiful childhood memories. As an adult, when I moved back to New York for a short stint, I absolutely dreaded snow day. If you know me in real life, I'm pretty short. So, right, so I had to dig out my car. At that time, I was commuting from New York to New Jersey for work. So I had to drive through the snow, annoying, frustrating, right? And so what changed, right? Snow stayed the same. Nothing changed about snow, but the meaning I have attached to the snow event has changed, right? The snow remained neutral. And so that is how our thoughts about a situation can increase or decrease our stress. So later they added to the model the D and E, dispute and effects, right? Disputation is disputing the irrational belief that causes unhealthy consequences and turns it into a rational belief. And E, or the new effect, which is now that we have disputed the irrational belief and we replaced it with rational belief, we are now healthier um, and have healthier consequences as a result of it, right? You know. So as we see here, How we interpret and see a situation can really impact our stress level and how we cope with stress. So here are some examples, right, of how to examine your beliefs, right, and how it influences reactions to stress. Right? So here you see the social mirror, what I should be, right? Then we have perfection, right? Or irrational beliefs. Then, of course, we have our expectations and family roles, right? So all these different areas here, and how do these all affect you and others, right? All of this influences your stress level, right? So, for example, if we will, well, use me for example, right? If in the past, we'll say it was in the past, I had this need to be perfect. How do you think that will influence my reaction to stress, right? If I make a mistake, I will be thinking about it over and over again, right? Everything has to be perfect. And we are perfectly imperfect. There's no perfect being. But if I continue to put that pressure on myself to be perfect, it's naturally going to increase my stress level, right? Expectations and family rules of who you should be or how you should be. That is also another stressor, right? That happens. Then we have what we see socially, right? That social mirror of what people are doing um, and how we should be, right? Society has says that we should be this, right? By the time we're 30, we should be married, right? By the time you're 35, you should have 2.5 kids, right? So social mirror, like what is being held up to us, right? Are we seeing ourselves or are we seeing what people are putting on us, right? So I want you to examine your beliefs as far as how it influences your stress level. So, one of the things that we want to practice is cognitive reframing, right? I want you to reframe your failures as new opportunities, right? They're opportunities to grow. You can look at life as a list of mistakes that you've made, or you can look at it as lessons and how you've grown through them, right? So we want to reframe failures as new opportunities to learn, right? Being curious about life and looking at it as like, okay, this wasn't a mistake. I now know how to do X better, right? I know what to do next time, right? Challenge your shoulds, right? Should, coulda, woulda. We have a whole lot of shoulds that we need to challenge, right? Who said you should do what? Where did you get that from? Right? Who planted that seed in your mind that you should be a doctor, right? That you should be a nurse, that you should have $1 million in your account by now, right? Challenge those shoulds. Avoid all or nothing thinking, right? In life, there's a lot of gray, a lot of gray, right? It's not as black and white as we would like it to be. So avoid that all or nothing thinking, right? Realize that, we're somewhere in the middle, right? Not going to have it all. We're not going to be able to do it all, but we're not going to have nothing either, right? Be compassionate with yourself. Show yourself grace, right? You are, again, are a perfectly imperfect human being. You're here to learn, right? And teach. We learn from each other and we teach one another, right? So be compassionate with yourself when things don't go quite like you wanted them to go, right? Focus on the present. I often say too much focus on the future leads to anxiety, and too much focus on the past leads to depression, right? With a lot of regrets. So all the action, everything is happening now in the moment. So focus in the present and embrace optimism, right? Look at things as an opportunity to grow and learn. Not everything is always going to be bad, right? Just like we have some days that is rainy, we have some very beautiful sunny days as well, right? So embrace a more optimistic view on life. So other ways to manage stress using a cognitive approach is stop passing judgment on yourself and others, right? We can be our biggest critics. And oftentimes the things we say to ourselves and about our actions and behaviors are so much worse than we would say to any other person, right? So stop passing judgment on yourself and on others, you know. Try to be non-judgmental, as best as you can. And again, try to show yourself some grace. Only worry with a writing instrument, right? Processing our feelings through journaling, which is one of the biggest thing that I ask my clients to do is journal, is a great way to manage stress. Also, we know that practicing gratitude has been found to have a positive impact on us mentally. So start a gratitude journal. That's a great way to manage stress. Okay. Accept what is and what can't be changed, right? Oftentimes the things that causes us the most stress are the things that are out of our control, right? Completely out of our control, but it's causing us stress. And so what you want to do is try to shift your focus away from those things that are out of your control and focus more on the things that are in your control. So I want you to take an inventory of all the things that are in your control, and I want you to put your energy towards those things, right? And as we already discussed, keep your stress in perspective. My apologies, right? Keep your stress in perspective, right? It's so important that we look and think about the way we are thinking about our situations, right? If we think about things overly negatively, having negative thoughts, then of course our stress level is going to increase. So make sure you keep your stress in perspective. All right, so this is the fun part. We're going to talk about specific ways that you can de-stress, and we're going to practice some of them together this evening. So let's talk about ways we can relax, right? On this side, you see a few ways to induce the relaxation response. The relaxation response is the complete opposite of what stress induces, which is the fight or flight response, right? So in order to combat stress, we need to figure out how do we activate that relaxation response, right? So one is relaxing your stress triangle. And to find your stress triangle, what you want to do is you want to put your left hand on your right shoulder, right? And you want to move your fingers halfway towards your neck, right? You are at one point of your triangle. The second point is the same place off your left shoulder, right? That is your second point, right? And the third point is on your forehead between your eyes, right? This is what the stress triangle is, right? And this is where most people experience like stress related muscle tensions and pain, right? Where we get that saying, you're a pain in my neck, right? Now you know where that comes from, right? So to relax those areas, you could do a lot of stretching. You could stretch your neck all the way, putting um, your ears, trying to reach for me right now is my right shoulder, or you can move to the left, right? And you want to do stress, you could actually put your hands over your opposite ear, and then you could do a little tug to stretch out that neck muscle. And you do the same on the other end, right? Next is meditate, sitting with your eyes closed, repeating to yourself a phrase that is meaningful to you. This can be self-talk along the lines of I am valuable, right? I'm a productive person, just the way I am. I am beautiful, or you can choose an inspirational passage from a favorite book or scripture, right? Whatever works for you. but you're taking that moment to focus on something that is pouring into you, a positive phrase, an affirmation. Then we have deep breathing, right? Slowly breathe through your nose and imagine a peaceful scene, right? Then you want to hold your breath for a count of 5, and then you want to slowly exhale it through your mouth or pursed lips, really, for a count of 4, and then you could repeat that, right, 3 times. So deep breathing is a great way to relax. And then we have progressive muscle relaxation. This does not only help relax your muscles, it also makes you more aware of where you're holding tension in your body, right? And so what you want to do is you will tense up each area of your muscle groups together, and then quickly release it. It's really helpful and relaxing those muscles. And again, we can start by, uh, just squeezing your hands together, making a fist, and then releasing it, right? Squeezing your eyes closed and then releasing it, right? And you're gonna go through all the different muscle groups in your body as you do that. And there's some great guided progressive muscle relaxation videos that you can Google YouTube or just Google and you find some great ones, right? Then we have exercise. Exercise is a great way, as I said before, to kind of help with de-stressing, right? It's great on, again, releasing those good um, mood hormones that we need to improve our mood, right? And it's a great way to kind of let out some of those frustrations, right, that we have. Then we have visualization, which is a kind of guided daydreaming, right? To help you relax when stress is getting the better of you, right? It takes only 2 or 3 minutes. It doesn't take long. Um, and you just take a few deep breaths in and out, and then you start to visualize this perfect scene. And like I talked about before, laughter is a great way for you to relax, right? And release some of those um, negative emotions that you're holding on to. So one technique, again, to manage stress, like I talked about earlier, is the deep breathing or what we call belly breathing, right? Deep breathing or breathing helps release oxygen more effectively to all parts of your body. Lowers the blood pressure and the heart rate. It increases again those feel good neurotransmitters that we need, right? And it's a great way for you to just reset during your day, right? And you can just practice 2 deep breaths throughout your day, in between meetings, in between picking up children, right? Great way to just quickly de-stress in that moment. Diaphragmatic breathing, which is similar to deep breathing, but we practice it in the chair, right? And you would sit on the chair with your feet flat on the ground, knees bent, relax your shoulders, your head and neck. And what you would do is place one hand on your upper chest and the other just below your rib cage to make sure that you are breathing deeply, right, into your belly. And you breathe slowly in through your nose. And you want to make sure that your stomach is moving out and we're not breathing from our chest, right? Breathing deep down in our bellies. And so your stomach should move out towards your head, and then you are going to breathe out through pursed lips, right? And you're going to do that a few times, right? This is great for anxiety, right? In the moment if you need it. And you don't even have to put your hands. Once you practice, you'll be able to take those deep breaths that can help actually decrease your anxiety in the moment, right? So diaphragmatic breathing is another great activity that you can do to de-stress. Okay. So we talked about meditation, and another great technique is a guided meditation. Meditation actually helps produces a deep state of relaxation and tranquility. During meditation, we are focusing our attention and eliminating all the thoughts that are kind of busy or crowding our minds, right? And causing us to feel stressed out. So I want us to experience this together. We're going to do a brief guided meditation. So I want everyone to sit back and relax as we play this meditation for us to follow. Okay.
Recognize just how peaceful the present really is. Welcome to Coached by Nikki Dyer. Take a moment to pause, to breathe, to feel the way your belly rises and falls. To feel the way your chest expands as you inhale. How it falls with every exhale. Rising and falling in a loop. To feel your heart beating in your chest. To let its consistent rhythm of pulsing act as a guide. To bring you into this present moment. To let the way your body breathes for you bring you peace. Peace of mind. Peace in knowing that you are here. To know that you are only here because it's the only place you are meant to be. Come back to your breath, to the gentle rise and fall of your body. To feel the way your body has relaxed. To notice how at peace you feel. To recognize just how peaceful the present really is. Take a deep breath in and exhale. And when you are ready, open your eyes.
I hope everyone is still awake and with me, right? So this was just a 3-minute meditation on YouTube by Coach Nikki Dyer. And you can find several different meditations that you can do, right? That only takes a few minutes, right? It doesn't take much of your time. So another technique that I want to talk a little bit about is visualization, right? Did you know that your body cannot tell the difference between when you're imagining something and when you're actually doing it? Right. So, for example, if you are afraid of something and you just imagine it, right, you will release the same stress chemicals that you would if you were actually doing it. So knowing that we can visualize something very relaxing to induce a relaxation response, with guided imagery, you just want to sit in a quiet place and imagine every detail a very relaxing place. So we're going to practice this now. Um, so everyone again, get relaxed. I want you to take a few slow and deep breaths to center your attention and get in a calm state. And now close your eyes. And I want you to imagine yourself in a beautiful location where everything is as you would ideally have it, right? This can be a beach, can be mountaintop, it could be out in nature, or it could simply be in your favorite room, sitting on your favorite chair, right? Now imagine yourself becoming calm and relaxed. Or alternatively, imagine yourself smiling, feeling happy, and having a good time. Focus on the different sensory attributes present in your scene to make it more vivid in your mind. For example, if you're imagining yourself at the beach, imagine the warmth of the sun on your skin and the smell of the ocean. Or if you're out in nature, imagine the sounds of the birds chirping. Or if you're in your favorite place in your home, what do you smell, right? What do you see? Are you eating something? And if so, what does it taste like? What do you hear? What can you feel? Now take a few minutes in your special place as you continue to breathe in and out slowly. Now, slowly open your eyes and refocus on this presentation. Hopefully, you're feeling relaxed and refreshed. And this is something that you can do, um, throughout the day just to kind of bring yourself back to this relaxed place, especially when you're feeling completely overwhelmed and very stressed out, right? Only takes a minute to take yourself away from your stressors for a sec, right? Okay. So, having a visual of your goals is a great way to stay motivated and make it fun, right? This is one of those ways to make it fun. On the My Wheel of Wellness goals, it's a way for you to track the things you can do on a daily basis to work towards your overall well-being, right? So you're going to choose a meaningful thing you like to do on a daily basis, right? These actions, it'll be four, right? These four actions should be for your overall well-being, you know, things for others and outward gestures. You're going to type them in the box titled goals. And then you're going to use this document on a weekly basis and online. And each week, you can change out the tasks um, and repeat as desired, right? You can change to whatever it is that you want to accomplish. And each day that you complete one of the goals, select a pie piece in the corresponding quadrant and type delete, right, to remove the gray filter. And as time goes, you're going to do this for each task, and you're going to repeat this daily. And then you're going to see your beautiful design, of all your good actions that you've created, right? And so, this is, if you're interested, I will put it in the chat for you. And for those who may be seeing this afterwards, you can always just comment and I will send it over to you. It is a great activity to do, right? So right here is week. You can put your week August 20 to March the 26th or August 25th to September 1st. What you're going to do, I'm going to reach out to a friend or family member just to see how they're doing. I'm going to make more eye contact when I'm listening to someone, right? The smile at a stranger. I'm going to compliment a coworker on their work, right? So those are like 4 goals that you can complete, right? During a week. And as you are doing these things, right, you are going to delete a grayed area, right? And eventually you're going to see the full design, right? Which will say that you actually met your goal. So this is a great way for you to um, visualize or see you completing your goals, right? Sticking to them and being accountable to your goals. So some final tips and takeaways, right? We want to, recognize that stressors and symptoms is the first step in beginning your self-care plan, right? We have to know what's stressing us out and what is our personal symptoms of stress, right? And that's the first step that we need to do, right? Then it's important for us to examine our priorities, right? And decide which are most important. Everything cannot be important, right? I always tell people, I know that a lot of people may work in environments where there's multiple fires, but you have to prioritize on one, right? So examine your priorities and decide what's most important, right? Practicing relaxation and other stress reduction methods can help to change your perspective and achieve a more harmonious life, right? There's no such thing as creating perfect balance, right? But how can we have harmony between our motherhood, our self, our job, our partners? Like, how can we have a nice balance, right? So it's like a symphony, right? Everybody's on cue, right? Um, and then of course, seek help if stress symptoms persist, right? So we definitely want to reach out for help. You are not in it alone, right? Whether it's participating in a group or reaching out to a therapist or a trusted friend. Um, but definitely, if you find your symptoms of depression, of anxiety increases, please seek out professional help, right? There's plenty of resources out there. Um, if you go to my YouTube page, you'll be able to see some local resources as well. So definitely reach out for help if it gets to that. Okay. As I said in the beginning of my presentation, I want to go back and talk a little bit about the ongoing group for mothers that I have going on right now. No one person has all the answers, and I know through my journey of motherhood, I've learned a lot from young and old moms, right? So I want this group not only to be educational, but I want each participant to be a resource for each other, right? So by participating in this group, you'll be able to speak with confidence and get heard, right? We want to learn different communication styles, right? We want to become, um, more assertive. We want to gain the tools to communicate more effectively and learn how to express our needs clearly, but also set healthy boundaries with our children, our family, and others in our lives, right? 2, foster peace and collaboration with your co-parent, right? Sometimes, whether you're with your partner or not, um, we need to learn how to foster peace and collaborate better, right? And so in our groups, we're going to explore different communication styles, right, to assist with co-parenting challenges and learn effective communication techniques to navigate those co-parenting huddles that we might run across, right? We'll explore strategies for setting clear expectations, right? Resolving conflict constructively, and prioritizing your child's well-being in all interactions, right? You'll also learn to navigate tantrums and meltdowns without feeling depleted, right? You gain some tools on handling those challenging behaviors and learn practical strategies to manage difficult situations with your children, fostering more cooperation and reducing stress for everyone involved, right? Then we're going to explore different techniques for self-care. We're going to go beyond bubble baths and face masks, right? We're going to explore a variety of self-strategies to find what helps you manage stress, boost your energy, and feel your best, right? And then you'll also learn to craft a roadmap to a more harmonious life, right? We're going to create a wellness plan using the 8 dimensions of wellness model that was created by SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse Mental Health Service Administration. And we're going to learn about each of the 8 dimensions of wellness, right? Which includes physical, emotional, social, intellectual, spiritual, excuse me, and occupational, financial. I'll guide you in creating a personalized plan to address all areas of your well-being. Okay. You also learn you also begin rather building your village so you don't have to go it alone, right? Discover some strategies to create a supportive network around you. Yeah. We'll explore how to connect you with other moms, identify reliable resources in your community and delegate tasks when needed. Okay, this is a supportive village, that will help you feel less overwhelmed and more empowered as you navigate motherhood. And lastly, you'll receive a wellness journal, right? You'll receive a journal because, like I said, journaling is really important to me, right? So you receive a journal, and each week at the end of the session, you'll be given a reflective journal prompt to think about and journal on throughout the week, right? Again, I want this support group to um, fully cover the whole you, right? Have a holistic approach to support, not just your mental health, but all the other obstacles that you may face as a mom. So again, I want to let you know the groups are on Sundays, every Sundays virtually. Um, and this is an older flyer where it was on June 30th that we started having these groups, but actually it is has changed now to virtually every other Sundays that we have. And now we have discounted price because I did want it to be affordable. Originally, it was $80 per session, but now it is $50 per session. So definitely wanting it to be more affordable for parents and moms. And I also want to share with you my contact information. If you scan this right now, you'll be able to get all my information. The registration for the group is actually on my webpage, right? So you can always check out um, www.ibmlatlanta spelled out.com. And then if you look at upcoming events, you'll be able to click there and find the registration code. And again, if you scan this, you'll be able to get all my social media connections, links. Please follow me on IG, on YouTube, making it a point to make sure that I uh, am available to provide any guidance and support that I can to other moms, to anyone in the community seeking mental health assistance. So please lock in my information and I hope to see you online. Again, thank you for joining me tonight. I am so happy that you have decided to take care of yourself, right? Decide to prioritize your self-care today. And I will be posting this on my YouTube page for anyone that would like to share it for a family member or someone that you think will benefit from it. Please go to 5 minutes therapy break, my YouTube page, and you find it there. I'll also probably put a link in my Instagram so you can find it there as well. But I thank everyone for being here tonight, and I hope you have a wonderful night. I hope you got something out of this tonight, and be well and take care. Bye bye.